short. I just want to extend my gratitude to every single senators here, as well as every single guest that we have. I know that during this break, it's not ideal to be on a Senate meeting or to be doing business during the time you should be relaxing and enjoying time with family or whatever your situation might be. So I want to thank you for being here and taking that time out of your break to serve the students and to serve the people who we have been elected to represent and to make sure that we can get our job done even over a break. So I appreciate you all for being here. With that, I am going to send us into a period of opening roll call led by Speaker Pro Tempore Trosclair.
Well, howdy, folks. Let's go ahead, and that link should be live, and it is now in the chat. So let's go ahead. You got about 2-3 minutes to get that taken care of.
And as a reminder, only senators need to fill out that that opening roll call form. All right, we are going to go ahead and move forward. As Speaker Pro Tempore Trosclair said, that will stay open until 7:12. If you have not had the opportunity to fill it out, you will have until 7:12 to fill it out. We'll now go into a period of invocation in the Pledges of Allegiance, led by Chair Ahmed.
Howdy, Senate. Since this was a last-minute special meeting, we did not have time to bring in a speaker from campus. So I will be taking the lead today for our invocation. If you don't know, my faith is Islam. So I will be reading a prayer in Arabic and then translating it to English. And so I'll begin. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allahumma inna nahmidaka ala ni'maka al-wasi'a allati an'amta alayna. اللهم أعنا على أن نستعمل نعمتك فيما يرضيك وهب لنا القوة والأمانة عند أداء عملنا في السنة. In the name of Allah, which is God, I'm the most graceful, the most merciful. O God, we thank you for all the blessings you have bestowed upon us. O God, please assist us and guide us to use these blessings to do what pleases you. O Allah, please give us the strength and honesty to fill our duties in Student Senate. And with that, I will go into our pledges. So we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance first. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And we are going to follow that up with the pledge to the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. And with that, I think that's all I have for y'all. Now yield my time.
Ahmed, well, fantastic, Ahmed. Thank you so much for stepping up and filling in. I know, like you said, this meeting was last minute, and so we weren't able to have our special guests, but always a pleasure to have you lead us in vacation as well. We will now go into a period of the reading of the mission statement and Aggie Honor Code, read by our longest serving senator, Senator Wood.
Howdy, Senate. It is a pleasure to be back once again. The mission statement says the Texas A&M University Student Senate represents all students in order to enhance the Texas A&M experience within our university and communities through research, legislation, and advocacy in accordance with the core values of our institution. The Code of Honor states, an Aggie does not lie, cheat, or steal or tolerate those who do. Thanks again.
So, well, Senator Wood, thank you again for what now should be the final time. We appreciate you coming back. So with that, we will now move into a period of the singing of the Spirit of Aggieland, led by Speaker Pro Tempore Charles Clare.
All right, folks, I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. Mr. Speaker, I'm gonna need you to unlock that for me. Okay, here we go. All right.
And Pro Tempore Charles Clare, I think we're having some trouble with the audio.
Let's go beat LSU.
Fantastic. Thank you, Speaker Pro Tempore Charles Clare. We will now move into a period of open forum. The Speaker Pro Tempore has shared a list with me. Our first presenter will be the class presidents, Natalie Parks, Fawaz Saeed, and Ben Fisher.
Howdy, Senate and esteemed guests. I'm here with the other class presidents today to advocate for the topic that y'all will be discussing this evening in regards to pushing for a pass-fail option for the fall 2020 semester. Part of our mission as class presidents is to not only uphold traditions, but also to place a significant focus on across the classes. We aim to approach the issue of pass-fail as a united front, considering that this is something that students in all classes have voiced their support for. That being said, this semester, students have been faced with challenges unlike any other. Across the classes, we have noticed challenges from online learning and environmental concerns to financial struggles and mental health issues.
This is evidenced by the decreased attendance and therefore engagement in classrooms this semester than ever before. The desire for the university to implement the pass-fail option for this semester has been voiced by students across a multitude of media platforms in everyday student life. The pass-fail option will further incentivize students who are considering the Q-drop option to stay on track with their degree program and reach graduation within 4 years. It also helps alleviate the inequity among our diverse student body by keeping greater student retention and providing students who have struggled with external circumstances the opportunity to keep their scholarships. In short, this policy can not just improve, but determine student success at Texas A&M.
As for the freshmen, this has been an exciting introduction to Texas A&M, and we have enjoyed our first semester here. It has been difficult, though, both as a result of many choosing to isolate themselves for the safety of themselves or their families, either at home or on campus, which has only added to the difficulty of learning this new system of online learning. As a result, it has caused us a lot of difficulty that has potentially set us behind what is expected of us. However, I would argue we have still performed excellently. And if one of our goals as student leaders is to serve our student body and promote their excellence, I believe that the pass-fail option provides a great opportunity to promote their success and to serve them well in a way that it exemplifies our true talents and what is expected of us. Therefore, we do also recognize there are some drawbacks to the pass-fail option. However, we would advocate for educating all students in our student body as to what those are and then helping them to make an educated and informed decision. Unfortunately, the senior class president was not able to join us this evening, but we're available for any questions or comments that you may have in regards to this topic. And also, we're happy to cooperate with Senate in any way possible to help this option be accessible to the students of Texas A&M University. Thank you all.
Are there any questions for our presenters? Seeing none, thank you all. Our next guest will be Mark Sterling on behalf of the MSC.
All right, howdy y'all and good evening. Thank you for letting me join you tonight. I just wanted to introduce myself as Mark Sterling. This year I'm serving as the MSC president, so I wanted to share a little bit about what the MSC perspective looks like. As you can probably guess, the MSC student population is diverse because of our wide range of committees and their unique purpose statements, but I tried to get some feedback from some of our officers and chairs to see what their teams and their membership is feeling and how they're feeling toward the pass-fail option. Obviously, this year has looked different for everyone, even those who are living or have been confined to the same household as their roommates. But something that I've learned this year from my officers is that the emotional toll of the pandemic and that it has taken on us is sometimes larger than the physical or logistical toll. And I think that that's something that's definitely worth considering because, as one of my officers mentioned, if a family member or a close friend becomes sick, then that really takes a lot of energy because of the emotional toll. And I think that that's something that we need to take into consideration whenever we're evaluating what steps need to be taken to make it more equitable, as the class presidents just mentioned. A large portion of our student body in the MSC, or our student population, is from the class of 24. So as freshman class president Fisher mentioned, the transition has been definitely different from the transition that any other students and upperclassmen have faced. So I think it does make it more equitable for these freshmen who are transitioning into their university life to provide an option that makes their freshman year just more manageable with that pass-fail option. So I think that kind of covers the thoughts that have not been covered by former speakers, but I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have about the MSC perspective. Like I mentioned, I can't speak for everybody within our organization, but I tried to get a broad range of perspectives from our chairs and officers.
Well, fantastic. Are there any questions for our presenter? Seeing none, thank you. Our next presenter is Tanner Cedrone on behalf of the Corps.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's very good to be here tonight. So in this 5 minutes that I have, I do want to bring the Corps perspective in terms of switching to the pass-fail system for this semester. This has been a very unique time just in terms of our overall operations as a whole. Because even though you see the Corps working out, PTing, all that good stuff, a majority of the time we have a very ingrained scholastics chain that we utilize to be able to help facilitate academic success within the Corps of Cadets. A part of this, we also have a special unit that is in charge of cadet tutoring, one-on-one tutoring with the individual cadets for all classes. This semester, compared to previous years, has had a huge strain on both this scholastics chain and then our honor society that also counsels cadets. In October, I had my scholastics officer pull some data for student success within the Corps, because since we're so confined together, it's easy to find out what the mass opinion is from the individual freshman all the way up to the senior. I think the biggest piece of data that is very interesting is the lack of adaptability to technology, to being in this new environment. the logistical means, even Mark talked about the emotional toll, but the logistical means of operating in this pandemic, of literally, if people are first person contact exposed, having to move to different locations around campus to be able to continue to conduct their class, and with the psychological strain of Zoom fatigue, it's a lot. It's a lot. With moving to this system, this is not the easy option out. I think that everybody in this room have proven that we don't take the easy option out. This is more of a means to be able to meet what is earned in the classroom with the right and equitable grading system that goes along with this. Well, part of the class council's document listed many other institutions that are going to this pass-fail system because of all the problems that COVID-19 has caused around our campus. Take it from a boots on the ground perspective that if this pass-fail system is switched and implemented to be optional, it would really help the academic success of a lot of students and help that retention to keep people in the class of 24 and to keep people in the class of 23 continually returning to A&M in person so they can continue their Aggie experience and get the education that they need. Thank you for your time, and I'll yield to any questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions for our presenter? Seeing none, thank you. We'll now move to Josh Feldman on behalf of IFC.
Howdy, Senate. Chair Feldman here. I'm actually speaking on behalf of Colton Mandel, the president of the TAMU IFC. Outside of Senate, I'm actually the vice president of interfraternal relations for the Texas A&M IFC, which is the Interfraternal Council. So when it comes to pass-fail options, the Texas A&M IFC wholeheartedly supports the Faculty Senate making this available to all students. When Colton Mandel and I asked the IFC general body for its thoughts on the option for pass or fail in classes, we received an outpouring of support. To highlight some reasonings from our body on this topic, we received a plethora of reasons such as mental health, online learning challenges, financial issues, technical issues in class formatting, a lack of in-person office hours, and many other reasons that are justifiably so make this semester more difficult than the last. With grades and education being so incredibly important to the many organizations that make up IFC, the Greek body, and all the organizations that make up Texas A&M and make it what's great, this semester has been incredibly straining to our students. I can tell you from my perspective as both a grad student and someone in the Greek body and someone in Senate, this has been one of the most difficult semesters I've ever encountered. It's incredibly tough and it's incredibly difficult to navigate. And we as Aggies have stood strong and together throughout this past year and will continue to do so and will remain strong and united through this difficult time. And that's why the Texas A&M IFC urges Dr. Stallone and the executive committee to implement the pass-fail option this semester to help support the students and stand strong together with our Aggie family. Thank you, and I'm open to questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions for our presenter?
Thank you.
Seeing none, thank you, Chair Feldman. That will conclude our period of open forum as we have exhausted the list. We'll now move into a period of new business, beginning with the consideration of SR 7336, the pass-fail fall 2020 resolution. For this, I am going to relinquish the chair to Speaker Pro Tempore Trosclair for purposes of presentation.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Go ahead whenever you're ready.
Fantastic. I know Student Body President Mendoza is going to be presenting with me as well. We're going to go ahead and read through this resolution in its entirety. I'll begin. Whereas one, faculty and students continue to have immense challenges in education with the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. This has forced students to focus more time on issues outside of their studies than would traditionally be the case. Students and professors alike have had to push through their work while facing growing mental health concerns. economic strain, and a unique set of new responsibilities and hardships that the pandemic has caused. And
whereas two, these additional strains on students' lives have impacted their ability to perform academically to the same level they could have pre-pandemic, especially with many not being able to learn in the teaching modality that best suits them due to COVID-19's impact on the class formats. And
whereas three, students of all backgrounds and learning ability face challenges in the adaptation to online hybrid learning. Aggies who face environmental externalities, learning disabilities, and experience levels with technology in differing socioeconomic positions may still face difficulties adapting to this new and experimental method of learning. And
to meet these challenges during the spring 2020 semester, Texas A&M University enacted additional academic accommodations due to COVID-19. These included the ability for students to take a class pass-fail, satisfactory or unsatisfactory, and make that decision after final grades were posted. And
whereas five, the Student Senate recognizes that these accommodations were never meant to be permanent and applauds the incredible efforts that university faculty, staff, and administrators have made both this semester and last. However, the challenges faced by students in their academic experience in spring 2020 semester still linger this semester, in addition to new challenges that have arisen outlined above. And
seeing that these issues are still present, a large amount of students have reached out strongly urging the implementation of pass-fail grading, including through a grassroots petition that has garnered the support of at least 12,000 signatories. And
similar to the spring 2020 semester, our state and SEC peers, who are direct competitors of our students, have also begun implementing pass-fail accommodations of some sort, including the University of Texas at Austin and the University of Tennessee at Knoxville. And
additional schools that have announced the implementation of pass-fail of some sort include the University of Southern California, USC, and the University of California at Berkeley. And
therefore, let it be resolved: 1, Student Senate, the student body president, and the student body strongly request a method to modify grades pass-fail for the fall.
My apologies. Mr. Speaker, continue.
That's okay. The screen just all shifted there. Modify grades pass-fail for fall 2020 semester courses. And
that the Texas A&M University Faculty Senate and Faculty Senate Executive Committee move to re-implement a pass-fail grading option in any form for the fall 2020 semester courses. And
that any pass-fail implementation recommendation, retroactive or not, be made known to students by the existing Q-drop deadline of November 30th to the extent possible. And
that this document student testimony given and that the Student Government Association be included in the final conversations to consider this request to re-implement a pass-fail grading option. And
a copy of this resolution be sent to Dr. John Stallone, the Faculty Senate Speaker, Dr. Carol Fierke, the Provost and Executive Vice President, Dr. Daniel J. Pugh Sr., the Vice President of Student Affairs, Michael K. Young, the President of Texas A&M University, and the battalion.
Fantastic. And as we wrap up and are certainly open to any questions, let me just note that I think what was given in the testimony at the beginning of the meeting from our class presidents, I want to thank, Ben Fawaz, Natalie, and I know Gunnar as well, for their support. Also Tanner and the Corps of Cadets and Mark, Colton. We've heard from a number of people from different bodies across campus. Appreciate that they were able to share probably in a better way than even Zach or I could have. But just want to emphasize that this is trying to, both through the legislation itself as well as this meeting, solidify what we've been hearing from students, yes, this semester, but also spring semester, this summer as well, into one final piece of knowledge that we can pass forward through advocacy. And so I think that it's no surprise that this is a request. It's no surprise that students have been seeking this. We have some great guests joining this evening that we appreciate their time, especially on a Friday evening. And just want to emphasize that we have been able to work with the executive committee this semester even and got a number of things done that we appreciate. They've continued to hear us out. And so this is a way for us to solidify one more time what we've been hearing to pass along to them and our administrative team as well, and the administration for A&M itself. So Zach, I don't know if you have things to add, but really just happy to answer any questions to, again, solidify what we have been hearing. I know you all through your constituents too, and want to emphasize what was shared at the beginning that, this is part of the role. I know it's a day after a holiday, but you all being here is significant, I think, in itself, and we appreciate that. So Zach, I'll pass it to you.
Absolutely. I won't add too much there. I think, Eric, you summed it up very well and made that very, very clear as to why we're here tonight and what we're attempting to do with this resolution. Again, I'll say the inbox of the speaker is completely full of people who have been reaching out about pass fail, and I know it's the same, I assume, for Eric as well, as members of administration. And so do know that this isn't something that we're taking lightly. It's not something that we're doing spur of the moment, but it is something that we believe needs to be advocated for. And I also just want to take a minute and thank the members of administration as well as faculty that we have here for being here tonight and for listening to us, because I know that all of us have a role within the Senate or are connected to the Senate in some way, but the administrators and faculty are not. So the fact that they're taking time out of their break to be here is absolutely phenomenal. And we're very grateful to have their ears tonight. But we are ready for questions at this point.
Are there any questions? And to our guests in the room, I apologize. I was trying to bring up the legislation for y'all's courtesy. Are there any questions? Seeing none, I'm going to go ahead and give the chairmanship back to Mr.
I do see one from, I think, Senator Smith.
I apologize. I did not see that.
Just want to make sure before we yield.
Senator Smith, go ahead once you are unmuted. Mr. Speaker, you're going to need to unmute him. I don't have unmuting privilege.
Okay, thank you. SVP Mendoza, this question is probably for you. First of all, I'll be voting for this, and I appreciate you guys writing it and bringing it up. The only real opposition that I've seen to this, though, is that it's a slippery slope to become a perpetual, never-ending cycle of pass-fail. So could either of you talk to how that is not the case with this particular situation?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, like you noted, sorry, seeing echo. Thank you for that. Making sure we don't echo here. Yeah, I don't think that this was something, I'll be honest, when I heard about pass fail for the first time in the spring semester, even I was a bit kind of taken aback and took a second thought, because it's not something I had ever thought about. The rationale then made sense. It's the same rationale that makes sense now. The standards haven't changed, and I think if anything, the state of the world and the state of our students having to try and perform academically has only gotten worse for a bunch of reasons that aren't students' fault. But because of that, I think students are eager to go back to some sort of normal, whether it looks like more in-person classes, whether it looks like the ability to go to the library with study groups, or to go to the coffee shop and study traditionally and spend time really in their studies. That's just not the case now. It's not the case over the summer. It wasn't the case in the spring. I don't think it'll be the case in the near future, but eventually it will. And I will be the first person to say that when we do not need this ability for great accommodations, we don't need to offer it. Most of us are upperclassmen. This is not something we've ever begged for or ever even heard about, is some idea of great accommodations beyond the traditional Q drop deadline. And I think that is for a reason. And once we are able to go back to that normal, I'll be right in favor of that as well. But I think the reality is the rationale that made sense in the spring still makes sense now. Our peers saw that, and I think our students still see that, unfortunately. I wish they didn't. But the fact of the matter is I don't think it's a slippery slope, because I think that students make sense in the moment. They make decisions knowing the repercussions of it. This is not an easy decision for any student. I've been someone, we all have, that have had to decide, do we or do we not? I think it's an individual decision. I'm not saying every student should go out and pass fail every course. I don't believe that at all. I don't think it's for every student, but I do think that it's one that they don't take lightly either. So I don't think it's, a slippery slope we have to be worried about, at least this semester.
Senator Ebel.
Howdy, Senator Elbel, Off-Campus Caucus. I have a question for President Mendoza. What conversations have you had with administration about this before this bill has come towards the Student Senate?
Yeah, I appreciate the question. So we've had a lot, and I want to thank admin and the members of executive committee that are joining here today too. For their sake, they probably think we've had too many conversations, but we were heavy in conversation in the spring with the executive committee. Can't thank them enough for their work. I have worked with them throughout the summer, and members of the provost team, just for the work that we're doing to talk about class modalities and other things like that. we had a meeting end of October, beginning of November about grade accommodations generally. In that meeting, that's where the Q-drop extension was approved afterwards. That's where the idea of the W was discussed in further, which the faculty executive committee approved last week or this week as well. And pass fail, as well as other options, were kind of on the table. Those kind of 4 buckets there. At that point, our peers weren't doing it, so the no made sense in some sense, because that was really months ago now, and there wasn't much to look around and say, well, they're doing it as well. That obviously changed when Tennessee, about a week ago, University of Tennessee at Knoxville, SEC peer, implemented it to some extent late last week. I believe it was Thursday. So we shared that with the faculty speaker, who was graciously accepting of that conversation that we talked with him that day, Zach and I did. And then, of course, Monday, we were all watching very closely as University of Texas considered it through their full faculty senate and passed that as well. So they have reignited this week. And I know the executive committee has discussed it this week. We hope to have one more discussion with Zach and I and the committee itself. So it's been ongoing, but the rationale and the fact of the matter is our peers have changed too. And so the conversation has changed. And so it might feel a bit rushed. I know we wish it hadn't, but timing isn't always our friend, but we're happy to have it at any time they're willing to hear us.
Are there any other questions? Senator Tillis. Are you able to hear us, sir?
Yeah. Senator Tillis, hearing caucus. Do y'all have any specific pass-fail policies that you're looking to implement here, following UT's lead with the 3 pass-fails for 2 semesters, or UTK's lead? What are y'all's ideas there?
My answer is we're game for anything, but Zach, you want to start?
Absolutely. No, I mean, I'd echo that answer as well. I know we talked with Dr. Stallone a few days back, as Eric mentioned. And one of the things that we had talked about there was the possibility of having 2 pass fails on this semester. And we've played around with a few different things, but ultimately we know that the faculty senate, if they were to approve this, would probably be the best place to have that conversation as far as what's going to be the most effective way to implement pass fail and what's going to be the best plan. And all we can really do is give them some options that we've talked about and worked out and laid down.
Yeah, we understand it's an uphill battle for somewhat good reason. There are pros and there are cons that we can certainly understand. So the idea of us bringing the any form verbiage in the legislation to the executive committee realizes that we know from our perspective, student perspective, what we're hearing, what students want. We also know that their expertise is actually getting it done and figuring out a way to make it work logistically. So we're game, but yeah, echo what Zach shared.
All right, Senator Lucas.
Senator Lucas, College of Education. This can either be for Speaker McHugh or SVP Mendoza. What is the plan on educating students about the potential implications that pass-fail can have about their futures for grad school, professional school, and even potential job opportunities?
Yeah, and that's something that has been a big discussion point, I know, from the executive committee's perspective, and was one in the spring too. That's really fair. I do know from a lot of my friends and some there were roommates that have been applying and were applying and have since gotten into grad school that really we've seen the mass movement of really understanding this year is crazy and not putting that as a prejudgment on anything. So I'll tell you that that's not something that I would be specifically concerned about. However, I do understand that long-term piece, we just don't know. I'm fine with any sort of education piece. You know, if whatever we can do to make that known, I shared earlier, I don't think everyone should use it. I don't know if I would use it, but I do think it's an option students should have. And so I've said that, you know, if that's a huge point of contention, if you want to put in the same announcement email why students shouldn't use it, I'm okay with that. But I think we should have the option for them too. So happy to take suggestions, honestly, for what you think should be in terms of notification to students, rationale. I know some majors probably shouldn't do it, but I do think en masse it's something that should be an option.
Absolutely. And I'll add as well. I know looking at the announcement made by the University of Tennessee at Knoxville, as well as by UT here in Texas, both of them did have a message accompanying the announcement, as well as on the page that they put on their website to say, hey, this is what the grade changes are going to look like. This is what we're doing this semester. There was a disclaimer, and there was a portion where it talked about these are the potential ramifications of using pass-fail. This is what could be done. This is why it would be beneficial as well in your situation. And so it laid out exactly who should use it and when they should use it. And I think we could do something very similar, as well as any marketing from the social media standpoint that SGA would want to do, or any suggestions like SVP Mendoza said that you guys would have.
Senator Wood.
Senator Wood, College of Engineering, kind of follow up on that. Has the faculty senate talked at all about options, or has it kind of just been a complete no, we're not doing it, no talk, done deal? Do you know about that at all? Or
So to make sure we give them full credit, I do know that I don't know exactly. I know what we discussed early November, late October. I know that there's a lot that we've thrown at them in terms of different ideas. Some have been discussed this evening. I do know that this week, earlier in the week, they had conversations among the committee itself that were described to me as extensive. So I want to give them full credit that I think they've been discussing different ideas that are beyond just blanket pass-fail. And we certainly would welcome that as well in terms of any suggestions they have on how to meet in the middle.
okay, thanks.
Are there any further questions? Okay, seeing none, Mr. Speaker, I'm going to go ahead and turn the chairship back to you, sir.
Yes, I think it's Pro Tem Porch Rossclair. With that did conclude our period of question and answer, as well as presentation on this legislation. We will now move into a period of debate, beginning with debate against. Do I see any debate against at this time? Senator Nassas.
Senator Nassas, On-Campus Caucus. I like to move to add myself and anyone else who would like to be a sponsor of this legislation.
Absolutely. We're seeing multiple seconds in the chat and no objections. We will move by general consent to add Senator Nassas, as well as any senator who fills out the form found on the drive, as a sponsor to this piece of legislation. Do I see any objections to general consent? Seeing none, that does pass and will be done. Senator Nassas, you do still have the floor and debate against.
I yield my time to the floor.
The floor has been yielded to. We'll now move into a period of debate for. Do I see any debate for this resolution? Seeing none, that will conclude the first round of debate. We'll move into a second round of debate, beginning with debate against. Do I see any further debate against? Seeing none, debate has become one-sided, and that will conclude our period of debate. We'll now move into a period of voting led by Speaker Pro Tem Porch Rossclair.
Howdy, folks. We've reached the main event of the evening. The ballot is live, so let's go ahead and fill that out. I'm going to give you guys till about 7:50 to go ahead and get that taken care of. All right, the results are in. We've got 55 for, 1 against, and 1 abstention.
And with that vote, SR 7336, the pass-fail fall 2020 resolution does pass. And with that, I would like to recognize a motion from Chair Hine.
Chair Hine, Rules and Regulations. I move to postpone indefinitely the committee reports, the executive reports, and closing roll call to move into a period of adjournment.
Do I see seconds? Seeing multiple seconds and no objections, we will move forward by general consent to approve this motion. Do I see any objections to general consent? Seeing none, the periods of committee reports, executive reports, and closing roll call have been postponed indefinitely. With that, the last period is adjournment. Before we do that, though, I would like just to say thank you all for coming and for being here on this Friday night. Again, I want to give a very special shout out to the administration and faculty for being here and hearing our voices. We will have this resolution on your desks shortly, and we'll get this out via Twitter and social media as well from the Senate accounts. I would also like to give Eric a quick second to say goodbye as well.
Perfect. Thanks, Zach. I really appreciate everyone for joining on a Friday evening post-holiday. I was a little bit worried for quorum, and I feel stupid now to have been worried. This is great. I appreciate y'all doing your job and showing up for students this evening. This is obviously a step that we hope is to reignite a conversation. It's a quick turnaround. We understand that. We'll keep you in a loop one way or the other, obviously, but I think this was a good piece that we could do to exhaust at least all of our options, given the student demand that we've seen, regardless of the overall outcome. So appreciate you for joining. Hope you had a fantastic Thanksgiving with family and loved ones safely, and also wish you a happy weekend and finals coming up.
Thank you, Eric. And with that, Senate, we are adjourned.